My talk today will be about delivering value faster. And yeah, I enjoyed very much the poll basically because it was about mind reading, and mind reading that was definitely not the superpower of my friend when we had this this conversation. So it all started with a friend of mine, a young guy, enthusiastic about agility, and yeah, very convinced about the superpower of agility, which is all right. Agility is a good stuff and delivering a lot of value at a certain moment in time. But yeah, for the sake of the you know, the challenge, I was challenging a little bit his position. He was trying to explain me how the world was spinning, and I'm in this business for, let's say, 25 years. So I'm used to many different software development life cycle, and I wanted to challenge a little bit his opinion. So as the conversation went on, he was challenging that Agile was delivering value faster. And one of the examples, and I was of course waiting for this one because that's a very classic example, by the way, not a very good one, was the Agile car. And he said, look, in your old time, yeah, you know, he was taking me for a dinosaur or something. In your old time, you were in the classic software development life cycle, call it the V model or, you know, waterfall, these kind of things. And basically, you have to wait a very, very long time. And if you want to build a car, you have to wait for, I don't know how many months before you see the result. And it might be that the result is not the one that you're expecting. Well, let's say that if we go Agile, then we will go to the minimum viable product concepts or the minimum marketable products per se, and we will deliver the value progressively so that all that time you'll have the possibility to, you know, exercise some kind of mobility. So we will do something like a skateboard, a scooter, a bike, and then a motorbike and a car, and eventually an electric car. Let's say that technology evolves a little bit, or mentality evolves a little bit, and we turn a little bit greener, though I just challenge that the electric cars are not that greener. But in any case, this was the story. And I said, you really think this is a good example? Because, you know, basically speaking, my friend, today, with my current setup, I have 200 kilometers to drive from my home to the office because I'm living in Belgium and my office is 200 kilometers away in France. So basically a skateboard or a scooter or a cycle, it will not work. You know, a bicycle will not work either. 200 kilometers, that's not pretty good. I don't like motorbikes. I feel very unsafe on these ones, by the way. And you know, when I meet a customer, I need to be all dressed up, and if it rains, I need to be, you know, not completely soaked. I need to be, you know, dry and neat and clean. So, basically speaking, if you look at all these intermediate solutions that you call minimal viable products, they are not minimum viable products for me. It's not delivering the value that you're expecting. And there's nothing wrong in this example. The only thing that is wrong is that you didn't check my preconditions. You didn't check what value exactly meant for me. And here we come to the presentation, or the core of the presentation. It's not about bashing Agile, by the way. By far, again, I say Agile is very good and bringing loads of interesting concepts and interesting things to the development. And it was kind of a breeze of fresh air. No, there was nothing new. Agile was dating from the 2000-ish, so that's not a brand new concept. But because of the evolution of our society, becoming more impatient, willing to change faster, and having to change faster, agility just got the traction we know today. Well, my point is, Agile is fine, and I'm not recommending in all cases the traditional model. They're not that yet, you know. There's still loads of people using traditional models, and it's all right. But I would like to dig into the concept of value, what value really means to us, actually. And my counterexample was diamond. You know, diamond, we all believe diamonds, it's ultimate value. If you wear a diamond, well, you're probably a rich man or girl, whatever. And there are very, how to say that, normalized way to evaluate or to evaluate diamonds, actually. And these are 4 big characteristics. These are the 4 C's for diamonds, you know. you have the carat. The carat is some sort of, you know, the size of the diamond, the weight actually of the diamond. You have the cut, and the cut is not the shape it is cut, but actually it is the experience, the diamond cutter or the people who faceted the diamond made their job so that light can be reflected inside the diamond and you know, present this kind of bright enlightenment to the minds and to the vision of the ones looking at that. And then there's clarity, and the clarity is the amount of impurity and the size of impurities within the crystal structures of the diamond. So the lesser and the smaller, the higher the price, of course, and the higher the value, basically. And there are different classifications, so it can be seen with bare eyes or just with some kind of you know, magnifier. This is also very standardized. And finally, the fourth C is the color, because natural diamonds are coming into different colors, different variations of colors, and some are more often seen in nature, though this is always rare. A diamond is always rare, but some are more common in nature and some are a little bit more difficult to find out. So basically, this is how you evaluate a diamond. But basically speaking, these are values that can be challenged again, because you might say that, okay, diamonds are not very ethical, because they are extracted in poor countries where people are overexploited and so on and so forth. So these are, you know, this movie with, I think it's Leonardo DiCaprio, the blood diamonds, and well, these kind of things, you know. So ethics is something that can be challenged when you're talking about diamond. And I can even present you another one. So there are synthetic diamonds. You can create diamonds from carbon powder. When you have high temperature and high pressure, you can create synthetic diamonds, but they are less appreciated, but they are more ethical. But you can even challenge that and say, yeah, okay, synthetic diamonds are probably more ethical, but are they greener? And then you come to another kind of value here that comes into the picture, which is diamonds, whether you need to extract them and you know, shape them some sort of way, or you need to create them from scratch or from carbon powder. It takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of, it creates a lot of pollution, so they are not very green. And there's a guy who thought about that and got to another solution, these kind of diamond producing towers.
We decided to build the largest smoke vacuum cleaner in the world. So it sucks up 30,000 cubic meters per hour, cleans it on a nano level using very little electricity, and then releasing the clean air. So we have parks, playgrounds, which are 55 to 75% more clean than the rest of the city. Every month or so, it opens like a spaceship. This is the stuff we are capturing. This is Beijing smog, pollution. This is the horror. We live 5 to 6 years shorter. Children have lung cancer when they're 6 years old. And we realize that 42% is made out of carbon. And carbon, of course, on the high pressure, you get diamonds, yes. So inspired by that, we compress it for 30 minutes and making smog-free rings. And so by sharing a ring, you donate 1,000 cubic meter of clean air to the city where the tower is in.
So this is basically another way to, you know, come to value. And you see that there are different shades of value or different facets of value, what I call values, you know. Values is, okay, I want something that is worth a certain amount of money, a diamond, but it needs to be green or it needs to be ethical. And then we come to that kind of compromise. I'm not saying that this is the ultimate solution, it's just the example showing you that value is something that is difficult. And actually, it comes to alternative choices. It comes to disruption. So for instance, if you remember Steve Jobs doing this conference, it was a couple of years ago, and he was just launching the first smartphone ever. And what he said at this time is absolutely amazing. He just discovered, or he just thought of, most of the phones that you see there, these were the top-notch technology at the time. They all had this kind of keyboard set up into the device, you know, as a part of the device. And you said, well, actually, why do they have a keyboard? Because we don't need the keyboard all the time. If you just need to pick up the phone and you know, take a call, you don't need to have a keyboard. You just need one button to press. And if you want to type a memo or something, that you would need a keyboard, but only at that moment in time, because again, you will listen to music and you won't have that keyboard available again. So he invented the concept of the keyboard just coming in when you need it. And that was the concept of the smartphone. And in no time, all these devices were just, you know, totally has been and totally out of fashion. Some people missed that track, you know. Some people missed that changes, like Kodak, for instance. Kodak was the best ever in you know, traditional you know, films at a time, but they totally missed the point that people did not want to have picture printed. They just want to have a capture of the moment. So they missed the target of digital camera, and later the digital camera missed the target of, you know, our smartphones taking picture, because what we want is to capture the moments, you know, to fix the time. We don't care whether it is fixed on a paper or somewhere stored in an album or a hard drive. It's not important. What is important is that we fix the time at a certain moment in time. And some other big companies totally miss that point and totally miss what I call the job. This is another presentation of mine, but not here. That is the IBM, for instance, totally missed the point with regards to personal computer. They thought they were only dealing with big machines and big companies, while now everyone is laughing at them because everyone has a computer at home. So that's really the point, and some really missed that target. Values, by the way, our values can be influenced and highly influenced by many factors we call biases, for instance. One of the most common bias is called the halo effect. And the halo effect is, if I know somebody that is famous and is using that product immediately gains value to my eyes. So you cannot imagine how much Nespresso made money with this famous actor. You know what else? That's something that everyone knows today. And if it weren't him, Nespresso wouldn't have made such big money, or probably less big money with their products. The same goes with the James Bond watch. You know, Omega made a lot of money just because Daniel Craig wore that Omega watch in his movie. So that is the halo effect, and this halo effect is having a lot of value. I will just show you a small example that is coming from Microsoft long ago. Remember, they were creating Windows 95 and they were creating a brand new concept, which is the start button. And everyone was laughing at them at the time because pressing the start button to stop the computer made no sense. But years later, people could not get rid of the start button. And though Microsoft tried a couple of times, they could not succeed. They cannot succeed in removing the start button anymore. So this is becoming a UI habit, I would say. This is the campaign. $3 million were spent by Microsoft just to get this Rolling Stone song, Start Me Up. And that was just the start button. That was the introduction of the start button. You know, loads of money. Okay, I will just stop make here, but you see what I mean. So it has a lot of value. Now, value is also depending on how we perceive it. Remember my example with the car. I don't perceive a skateboard as an added value or a minimum viable product because it doesn't fit my needs. It doesn't match with my expectations. Let's take this other example to distinguish between the real and the perceived values. For instance, if you buy a teddy bear somewhere in a supermarket or in a toy shop, it would probably cost you, let's say, $10 or 10 euros, depending which currency you use. And it's not worth much, let's say. But think about your little one now. When you offered her the teddy bear, and let's say that you go to the big shopping mall and she she falls asleep and leave it there and forget about it, and then it is lost. Can you imagine how much she would cry and tears and so on and so forth? So what is the real value of that €10 or $10 teddy bear to her? That's totally different, that's her confidence. That is, she's sharing all her little secrets with he's there to reassure him when the storm is there outside and when it's raining, So the perception of the value is something that is totally different from the facial price, the price tag, I would say. And another example, if you're not yet convinced, if you take a bottle of CocaCola. So I have absolutely no royalty by presenting these products, by the way, but in any case, it costs about 30 cents, sorry, if you go directly to the production side, but it can be up to €5 if you go to a disco, and even more in some places, or €2 or €3 if you go to a low-cost flight and you order a Coke somewhere upon the flight. So you see that the price is heavily depending on the context and depending on the perception of the value. The value is higher because I can get a Coke, when I'm in the air, and it's totally different than just grabbing a Coke in the end of the production line. Okay, so that's about the Windows story. Yeah, so they just introduced the start button, and they tried to get rid of the start button in Windows 8 actually with the modern UI. And people came and wept and cried and showed it at Microsoft. So they had to reintroduce that start button because people saw the value of that. Though, yeah. So here it is. They try to make it disappear, and they had to reintroduce it a bit later. Okay. So now, some stories about things that we consider to be common values. Cloud or software as a service or digital means greener. We try to get rid of paper everywhere. And I see a lot of emails sent to me when they say, don't print the email, think about, our planet, save trees, blah, blah, blah. But basically speaking, when you think about digital, the digital world, the IT world, I'm not pretty sure it is such greener because, these storage units, these big servers, they consume a lot of energy here and there. They overheat here and there, so they need to be cooled down and so on and so forth. So the carbon footprint of just sending a mail, and we have 80 or 90% of our mails that are just spammed and filtered here and there. This is consuming a lot of energy just for nothing. Digital storage has no limits. Yeah, of course, digital storage has no limits. And you see that, when I started my life as an ITer, I had a 30 mega hard drive, 30 mega. Today, that's not even the simplest USB, it's maybe an image today, and not even the finest quality we can produce. Today, we're talking about terabytes, hexabytes, what else? But basically speaking, power consumption is still there and has limits, definitely. And oh, by the way, it's good to store something, but it needs to be back up when you have some sort of a problem. And this is definitely still an issue. It used to be 20 years ago, and it still is today. Internet never fails. Oh, yeah. You can tell Fuzly or OVH that had recently kind of internet issues. Yeah, of course, they could recover after a while. Not everyone could. But basically speaking, internet does fail, and it's not that difficult to make the internet fail all in all. And the other one, if it's written on the net, then it must be true. Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about fake news here. And yes, technology is basically good. Yeah, technology might be good, but when you have this autocorrect stuff, well, basically, I'm not quite sure that it is always that good and that we always come to the best solution ever. So again, value is something that is here questionable. Okay, social confirmation. I really recommend you to read Robert Cialdini and these cognitive biases. It's really interesting. That's basically turned to marketing people, but it has a much wider scope here, and it's really enlightenment. Social confirmation, that is, if someone says that's good, you know, it must be good. So this is exactly the number of stars that you have when you buy a product somewhere online. You know, if this is a 5-star product, it must be a good one. This is the Michelin star. So if this is 3 stars, it must be a good restaurant. And it gets everywhere. You have this sales pop, you know, when you're buying something, you have this little pop-up coming and say, hey, somebody else just did it from the other side of the world, and it keeps on popping up. So it gives you the impression that this stuff is really popular. That's all right, but you know, this can be faked as well. And oh, by the way, I recommend you to check a little bit the internet about the Shed at Dulwich. This is a restaurant, and it became #1 TripAdvisor restaurant in London a couple of years ago. And the big problem is that the restaurant never existed. It was just a fake. It was just a forgery. It was just a big joke invented by a journalist who wanted to show the power of these social network and how they can easily be fooled and faked. And basically speaking, what you look at here seems, yeah, pretty yummy. It looks like Jacob shells in kind of elaborated sauce or something. And well, basically this is what it is, you know. This is just, you know, that kind of cream that you put on your face before you shave. These are the things that you know, the bleach stuff that you put in the toilets and so on and so forth. And this is, by the way, the Shed at Dulwich. The restaurant never existed. Okay. Here, because I'm president of the ISTQB, I just want to reaffirm here that we have, because we are popular and we are reaching 1.1 million certificates or exams all over the world, there are loads of frauds around our names. And, you know, when I see this website, and I will not name them because they don't even deserve to be named here, when they say that they already reach more than 500,000 people, it took us 10 years to reach such numbers. So maybe there's some sort of acceleration over time, agree, but still, this is a big fraud. So don't believe everything that you read on the net, definitely. Okay. Another last example with regards to value, and value might mean something different. Let's say that you are invited somewhere, and the person who invites you say, hey, choose for a good lunch. Will you choose for this kind of juicy hamburger that you see on the right, or will you choose for that posh Italian restaurant that you see on the left? Well, basically speaking, my choice is made, but this is just my choice, and it might not represent the same to you. So what I would consider as a good meal would probably not be considered by a good meal by some of you, most probably, which is absolutely normal, by the way. So just a couple of examples from my career when I was doing projects. One of them was called King Kong, which is why you have the big monkey there. And I was very happy because at the time I was covering the system testing. So each and every functionality should have been covered by test and so on and so forth. Every exit criteria were met basically. And yeah, from a QC perspective, it was system test passed, no problem at all. So we delivered a piece of software, and we already found some kind of $500 in the piece of software. So that was reasonably good tested, I would say. And when we delivered that to the end users, they just sent it back to us and say, this is absolute crap. I said, what's going on? No, of course it hasn't been, it has been tested properly. We found 500 defects. Most of them have been corrected. So why is it crap in your eyes? Well, because what we needed is multitask. Every kind of guy that was using the piece of software to the user were using multitasking. And at the time, that software was not ready for multitasking. And that was the big issue, but it was never written anywhere. So the requirements was not set up properly. It was not written anywhere. So people were developing a product that couldn't be used by the users because they just forget to ask, what do you really mean? And what do you really need? Okay. Yeah, we can automate testing with such a tool. Oh, this is another project, you know. The piece of software was so slow that to enroll new customers, it would take ages. And the people that were customer facing were so annoyed with that. that they asked us to find a solution. And we couldn't find any possibility to change the code because it was an integrated product. We didn't have all the possibilities to change whatever we wanted the way we wanted and so on and so forth. And by the way, I'm no developer, so I would not propose any development solution to my customers at the time. But what we did was a workaround. So during nighttime, we just gathered through a web form each and every change that needed to be done to the software. It was put in the flat file, and then the automation software were just entering the stuff and waiting for the machine to proceed. So it was pretty easy. We code the requirements from the customers who want to change my tariff plan. It was in the telco sector. They wanted to change their tariff plans, options, and so on and so forth. That was put in a flat file and then injected in the system overnight. Amazing, isn't it? Yeah. Another angle at which they totally missed the point with regards to value. I was involved again in the telco sector in a project where young people were targeted. And it turns out that at a certain moment in time, our marketing intelligence and found out that competition was coming to the market with same sort of product, but they would sell cheaper. And these guys that were responsible for the project said, well, we keep our price a bit higher because we have the best mobile network in the country. So we are better with technology and people will buy our stuff. Hey guys, wake up. This is the youth segments. These are young people, teenagers. They don't have their own money. It is lent by their parents in most cases. And by the way, they don't care about technology at this time. They just want to use their piece of software on mobile. They just want to send SMSs, textos, whatever. They just want to call their friends and so on and so forth. And to them, only price matters. And that's exactly what happened. We launched a product that was more expensive, and it was a big disaster from a marketing point of view. We have a very flexible connectivity carry-on policy. Yeah, this is what I've been told when I was getting a new, these decoders that you have for cable TV. Mine was broken due to a big storm in Belgium. It was broken, so I had to replace. And the guy, for some reason, there were some kind of arrangements or marketing arrangement. I had to pick it up at a phone shop. And these phone shop was also offering these sort of, cable TV solutions. Let's say that this is the full package. And he said, well, we have a very flexible connectivity and carry-on policy. So why don't you buy from us instead of replacing yours? And I just said, well, do you offer movies on demand? Oh, no, we don't do that. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. These guys that's part of their offer. So this is why I stay with them. I don't care watching TV during my holiday or in my shelter or something. I just want a good movie offer, which you don't have. So what I want to come here is that you need to evaluate, you need to understand what value means to the people you're talking to. This is absolutely key. This is about requirements. This is about user experience. This is about asking people, what do you really need? What is valuable to you? Instead of developing something that you think is okay or reusing something that is standard and just throwing it to the market in the hope that it will work. And yeah, this is another example on how value could be totally misleading, you see. Yeah. I guess they could spare the plastic pill there, my humble opinion. So that's all fine, but okay, how do we get this value? How do we quest for value actually? And there are very good tools to help us, and one of them is the PediMap. PediMap is the way to understand what your users or customers would say or do, would think or feel, would see or hear using your product, and what they say about you, what they hear from your advertising and so on and so forth. And basically speaking, the key core components here is that they have a pain somewhere, they have a painful point. And if your product is not bringing them a gain, if it's not the solution to their problem, they don't care about you. They don't care about your technology. They don't care about your network. They don't care about your speed or whatever, or your service. They just do care in fixing their problems. And if you're not the solution, that you better forget it. As simple as that. Yeah. One of the way to approach customers, and it's probably not the best way, but this is an excellent way to approach, in any case, when you don't get a direct contact, or you don't want to have a direct contact with your customer. It's called personas. It's pretty much used in the agile method today in many occasions. And personas are just synthetic users. You know, these are the guys that are modeling or modelizing your users, and you're developing, or you're tailoring your product and services to them, with them in your mind. You know, they are making, let's say, standard categories or standardized categories of users and customers for you. That can be quite elaborated, actually. So this is what a quite elaborated persona would look like. So you think about a certain age category, a certain profession, or lifestyle, and you have these kind of how to say that, characteristics of your persona, so that you create some sort of virtual reality within your user categories or customer categories. And of course you can have, and you must have, different personas with different expectations or different technology patterns and these kind of things, so that you represent different categories of users. Another very interesting tool, and I highly recommend you to use it, is the product vision board. And even as a tester, I guess that there are loads of testers today in the show, this can be used very easily for you to better understand what the product is all about. So this is the kind of discussion that you can bring in a small meeting or in a small face-to-face with the product owner. And the product vision board by Pichler is this, this is just understanding the vision, understanding the target group, understanding the needs. What is the product exactly? And what is the business goal? So basically, how are you making the money with it? That is the business plan, or the business model there for the product. If you have these questions answered, and you see there's not so many questions, there are 2 or 3 per category, so that doesn't make a lot, actually. But if you have these basic questions well answered and pretty much understood, then of course you have a better understanding of what the product is all about and what you will be needing to test when you're talking about a product. Sorry. Another approach that is pretty useful, and I think this is of course one of the best, is to involve your users directly when you're designing the product. And this is called the user-centered design. That's pretty much used in some areas. And of course, involving your users in each and every step of the development, instead of just making one little survey or creating personas because you don't want to approach them, or you can't just approach them. It's much better because you have a direct feedback. And this is exactly in the agility approach. You have this direct feedback loop, and you have the possibility to fail very fast and fix very fast as well. So they are taken into account in every step of the development, from the planning, from the research, from they have loads of demos, so call them demos, sometimes just a paper demo or such a concept demo. But this is good enough, at least, to receive their expectation, receive their comments, receive their feedback, and know if you're on a good track or if you're just diverging. We include a lot of common misconceptions while we're designing products, actually. And it is said that if it's easy to use, it is per se a good experience. That's usability kind of wrong expectation. If it's easy to use, it's good experience. No, not at all. If you have, let's say, this simple calculator, and this application exists actually, where you just have the possibility to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So can't be any simpler. Well, basically speaking, it's very boring. And you always find an opportunity where you say, hey, I missed this, maybe revert or maybe power or maybe something. There are functionalities that are definitely missing, and it's not good enough. Developing an application just to do that, well, I can use a spreadsheet and it goes 10 times faster. So that is one. Second, good design does not always mean easy to use. This one is the Stark juicer. This is the design object. And well, basically there's even golden plated ones that cannot be used at all to juice because the coating would be damaged. Not really the golden, but the coating would be damaged. So this is a wonderful design. It's coming from Stark, the famous architect. But basically speaking, when you juice with that, you put juice everywhere on the table, but in the glass, It's a beautiful object. It's very expensive object, by the way. It costs you about 150 to 200 euros to get one at home. But basically speaking, it's not practical. So it's beautiful. It's nice to show up. It's nice to show off with your friends when they're coming at home. Oh, you have the Stark juicer. But basically speaking, it doesn't work. Less steps for performing a task does not always mean good experience either. I guess that some of you who are old enough or maybe turning to vintage fashion these days remember these kind of electronic watches coming from Japan, when you have so many buttons that you needed to combine to get, I don't know, 10,000 functionalities. But basically speaking, you just got lost because you didn't know or couldn't remember which buttons to press. And then we had the oversimplicity stuff, which comes back to the easy calculator, when you just have one button and you need to press it repeatedly on in a certain sequence to get these functionalities as well. So it doesn't work either. Okay. So what I would like to come to and challenge you a little bit here is think about, what does value mean? And is there a single definition of what we think value is all about? And now I'm talking very contextual on your product, on your project, on your service, whatever. You must have the same sort of questioning, what does value mean? What is the value that we bring, and to whom do we bring that value? And is that value compatible with values? So again, is it green? Is it ethical? Does it respect, I don't know, gender equality, minorities, whatever kind of value, Loads of big companies just fell into the trap by just missing these values, or just, miscommunicating around these values. Who is my audience? Who is it for? You need to involve your users. You need to understand who is buying your product or services, because in the end of the day, this is for them that you develop. Nobody is paying you to use brilliant technologies or learn or whatever. This is, side effect. This is collateral damage, if I may call it that way. Basically speaking, you're developing to solve someone's problem. You're willing to ease someone's life. You're bringing a gain to a pain, and this is what you paid for. So you need to understand that. And you need to understand that there's not, and especially in this world that goes fast and faster, there's not only one solution to a problem. This is the first thing I've been taught as an engineer. One problem, plenty solutions. There's no problem. There are plenty solutions, actually. So the alternatives are many. And basically, this is what some people missed. This is what the people who still build phones with keyboards in totally missed. The alternative is bring the keyboard when it's needed, when I really need it. So this might be a virtual keyboard, and this is valid. This is valuable for most of the products and services. We always think that we cannot, there's no alternative, but there are plenty of alternatives, and these are the most difficult to target. And yes, please avoid biases and misconception, because the best is the enemy of good. There are many ways where people can be, influenced or can perceive or misperceive your things, and this is definitely what we need to trigger as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is this is mostly it, and this is what I had to say for today about values. I hope you you enjoyed the show, and I will just now stop sharing my screen, I guess.
Olivier, thank you. It was really very interesting getting to the roots of what we daily have to do and put the right questions in the table. Thank you very much. So, any questions
Hello,
from
yeah.
the audience?
Thanks a lot for this fantastic presentation.
Thank you.
I think that would be really helpful for those who are seeking answers for the values, actually. And if you have questions, please raise your hand or ask to the Q&A part, please.
One little thing that I would like to add, guys, if you have questions, and I'm not online anymore because I will leave to other duties, please don't be shy. Feel free to send me a mail, drop me a mail, or through the social network. I'll be answering you for sure. I would not swear that it will be within the 24 hours. I have no that sort of KPI, but I will answer you definitely. So if you want to reach out and prolong this conversation, or ask a question or reference, please come. You're more than welcome.
Thank you so much for this.
Thanks a lot. And we have one question. Yes.
Umut Kahraman Kaptan. I would like to ask how you can actually describe the value of testing. There was a conversation before the break. There's also the perception of the testing. So we are not only looking for a product per se, but we can just think about testing as a complementary product, because without the product itself, the test will not bring any value to the final customer neither. But what do you think about the value of testing to the producer of the product, how it can be presented to them, because this is one of the biggest problems in our industry, as far as I can say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's a very interesting question, actually. I would exactly use the same methodology. So basically speaking, the first question you may ask, and it might differ to many people here in the audience. Many testers would have a different answer to that, or many customers of the testers, or many managers of the tester would have a different opinion about that. What is the value that we deliver as testers? And the value is, in my opinion, I will just give you a couple of examples. It's really many. We have many different angles in which we bring value to the product. First of all, we might say that we bring information about the quality of the product. And this is absolutely valuable for within the development cycle, because they know by having their product properly tested that some areas are more at risk than others, or some things might work better than the others. And they know where to put the focus and the effort upon, basically. So if you tell them that this area of the software is not okay, they would probably re-engineer or refactoring or do whatever it needs to be to fix and improve in this part. So bringing this information is something that is absolutely key, not only to improve the quality of the product, but also to improve the planning and the management of the development of the product. Because if you raise a lot of defects, if you raise a lot of issues, it will take time to fix, so it will have an impact on the planning. And another angle from the value perspective is bringing confidence. You know, if I'm a business guy and somewhere there's no testing at all, I know that we're going to launch a product that has been not tested, or not thoroughly tested, I wouldn't probably sleep very well. If I have my assurance somewhere that it has been tested properly and that at least the core functionality will work, of course we will find some trouble here and there. That is, nobody tests this 100% complete, and there are still bugs in production. We all know these stories. But basically speaking, if if the core business is working and the core business is met, well, basically speaking, I would sleep much, much better. So this is also bringing an extra value. As a tester, we are very much used to communicate and to make different parties within a project or within the product discuss together. We used to speak the business language to understand their requirements, and we used to speak the technical language so as to discuss with the developers. So we have that ability, or we should have that ability, to communicate and create the network links between these people. This is also, of course, a very very big added value from the QA perspective. And basically speaking, and coming back to them, I think that we are the best qualified people to go to the users and understand their pain and transform this into a gain or a value for our PO or our developers friend. I think that we are key elements in the project, basically. Now, the biggest issue, and understand what is behind your question, is that due to the agility being very strongly focused on development and the tester as a role vanishing a little bit because it's not recognized per se within the team, because team is based on team members and not on roles, or maybe more on roles than functions or jobs anymore. Then, of course, it is a little bit more difficult to find your spot and find your space in there. But we still have much value, and basically speaking, agile or not, if there's no testing, it will be crap.
Olivier, thanks a lot from my side for bringing so much value to this conference.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was great. It was great.
Thank you. Enjoy the day, guys. Have a very good 2 days Live2Test event. Talk soon.